All Things Unexplained.
And I say we should not apologize for anything. Searching for objects has the same merit as searching for dark matter, because we already know about some interstellar objects that appeared very weird. The US government is talking about objects they do not identify. The head of the new office in government that was established by Congress a year ago, and this office has been operating and delivered a report to Congress just recently. We haven't seen it yet. He visited my home a month ago, and
Really?
yeah, and we had a conversation. Of course, I'm not interested in any classified information, and probably the most juicy information is classified, because the unclassified information is not really convincing. These are fuzzy images. We saw some of them. But the point of the matter is, we shouldn't ask the government to declassify it. We shouldn't wait for them to declassify. We should just look at the sky ourselves.
I mean, I'm sitting here going, okay, you had somebody in your home that has classified information about unidentified aerial phenomena. Tim and I watched that Congress session where they were going to talk about some of these things, and we're sitting on pins and needles, and they kept saying, I think we'll save that for closed session. And we were like, no,
it's one of our favorite quotes
more.
here.
So some of that, I think,
I should say that during the pandemic, I had very interesting visitors. I had dozens of very distinguished people that came, some of which are multi-billionaires, and they were all hosted in my porch, and because it was during the pandemic, I found that to be quite exciting. Now,
that's one of the perplexing things that we've found about the NASA study is their disclosure that we're spending $100,000 on this, and that just seemed like a very minuscule drop in the bucket. Like, what are they possibly hoping to accomplish with just $100,000, or are we missing something there?
Yeah, I mean, the study was just it's a committee that is supposed to recommend. It's not a committee that is doing any research, and they will be studying only the unclassified information, which, as I said, is much less impressive probably than the classified portion. And I say that without seeing it. I say that because high-level officials who saw the classified data said that it's quite intriguing. In fact, Bill Nelson said that the hair in the back of his neck stood up when he saw it. I don't know what that means. I've never, to figure out what it means, I need to see when does the hair on the back of Bill Nelson stands up by showing him different videos. So I don't know what to make of it. But there were others, there were presidents and other high-level officials that talked about it. And it sounds to me like that there is very intriguing data, but the government is not a scientific organization. So we cannot ask them to do the scientific research for us. We cannot ask them to declassify data because it will reveal the nature of classified sensors that the government is using, and that will compromise national security interests, right? So these sensors are used to defend the US, and we don't want adversaries to be aware of their quality. So obviously, they will not release the data, even if the sky is not classified. We can look at objects. So we need to do the work ourselves rather than, sitting back, relaxing, and saying, let's wait until the government will give us all the information. I don't want them to give us the classified data because it will compromise national security interests. I just want to get the data with unclassified sensors, which make a lot of sense. And because the sky is not classified, the sky is something astronomers are studying all the time. I should say that the person who visited me said, I have an obligation that if I see something, of extraterrestrial origin, I will have to report to the US president.
And we're speaking with astrophysicist Avi Loeb, and I'm glad we went down this path about the scientific community, because recently on this show, we attempted to do a deep dive into what appeared to be an explosive scientific paper by a team of Ukrainian astronomers. And, we really tried to dig into it and see did this make any sense? You know, what was going on here? And shortly after we put that podcast out, we saw that you had a response to their study. And I told CJ, we were actually at our daughter's soccer practice. I said, you know what, we should try to get Avi Loeb on the show and see if he could tell us, because we really tried to dig into that. If what they were saying had merit, I mean, it was potentially one of the most explosive, giant leaps of scientific discovery in human history, is the way I looked at it. So tell us what you saw when you looked at what appeared to be a Ukrainian astronomical study on UAPs.
So the purpose of science is to increase the signal to noise ratio, basically reduce as much as possible the level of noise so that you can see the signal sticking out. Okay, that's what most experiments aim at. And that's why I was reluctant to even read the Ukrainian report, because there is a lot of noise in a war zone. Okay, that's the last place on earth where I would put my instruments, because there are all kinds of secretive drones and all kinds of equipment flying around. And anyway, after the visit of this person from government that I mentioned before, he urged me to think about writing a scientific paper about UAP. And I looked at the Ukrainian report the following morning, and
All things unexplained.